When you look at this matchup, what's kind of the centerpiece for you? What sticks out?
The ability to, it'll be a test of Kentucky's ability in a raucous, difficult environment to handle pressure. And West Virginia makes the simplest thing really difficult. I think a lot of players, especially young players, take inbounding the ball for granted. And inbounding the ball against West Virginia is really difficult. And by the second half or later in the game, after you've had the simple become really difficult for that period of time, you get worn down physically and mentally, and you know, your legs get taken away from you. West Virginia gets further into your bench, and that's when you find out how good you are. So it's maybe the sternest test of mental and physical concentration and toughness that you'll have on the road.
If Kentucky is tough enough and it comes down to West Virginia's half-court offense, what kind of a difference could that make in the game?
Well, I mean, that'll be a factor. I don't know that any game ever comes down to half-court offense, but because one of the things West Virginia does so well is part of their offense, the offensive rebound. So to me, the game is it's continuous and connected. So you know, the difference to me is extra possession. So if West Virginia, because West Virginia is, you know, if they hit shots, you're done. But if they don't, if they have a normal day where their percentages are in the 40s and maybe 30s from three, and they're not, if you don't put them on the free throw line the whole game, the difference in the game is going to be how many extra possessions do they get through forcing turnovers and grabbing offensive rebounds. I mean, I think if I remember right, they're +7 in turnovers, and that's one of the best in the country, and they average close to 15 offensive rebounds a game. So those are extra possessions, and those are things that you can, if you do a good job, you can limit. You know, if you limit turnovers, limit second shots that you provide. That's not all within your control, but a good part of it is.
You see this as being another year where you got maybe a half a dozen to a dozen teams that could possibly win.
Yeah, I guess. I haven't seen a truly great team yet this year. Duke is the best offensive team. They score the easiest. Virginia's probably the best defensive team I've seen. But there are not sort of this. It's not like 2015 where you had, you know, Kentucky was 38-0 going to the Final Four, and Wisconsin was this older team that had been to the Final Four the year before, and Duke had, you know, all these pros, and you knew, you thought it'd be a huge upset if one of them didn't get to the Final Four, or if they all didn't get to the Final Four. This is more a year like 2011 probably, or 2014, where everybody's vulnerable. I've never been a big believer that, you know, it goes down, half a dozen teams can win I don't believe that. I haven't believed that for a long time. I think basketball is way more like football than we're willing to admit. Because if you look at the numbers, you know, football plays 12, 13 games. If you use a little algebra, put that out over a 40-game schedule, they lose the same amount of games that basketball does. The best teams.
Could you see maybe a Connecticut deal with Kemba Walker one year where a team gets hot and this goes?
That can happen any year. It's less likely when you've got the truly great teams that, you know, kind of are juggernauts, and you don't have that yet. You know, maybe Purdue or Duke will turn out to be that. You know, Virginia is less likely to be that. You know, because their margins are a little bit slimmer. They're not as great offensively, so they don't pull away as much. And you know, when you don't pull away, you know, something can happen. But it's going to be like, you know, we've had more kind of unranked teams beat ranked teams this year than we've had in a long time. But the records of the teams at the top aren't that much different than they are year to year. Villanova's had a couple of injuries. They're probably the best team right now. Purdue's right there. But there are a bunch of teams that can win. It's just, can you win 4 games to get to a Final Four, or can you win 6? Like, you know, oftentimes if you haven't won 6 in a row during the year, you're not going to win 6 in a row during the tournament.
Okay, when you come to Morgantown for a big game like this, what do you notice in the atmosphere, the environment at the Coliseum?
It's loud and hot. Loud and hot. Yeah, I love coming to Morgantown. It's a great environment in there. I started coming here when Gail Catlett coached here. When I was, the first game I did here, I think it was in the late 90s or something, mid to late 90s. And ESPN2, I was doing an ESPN2 game, and it was back when we did stand-ups. You know, now we do the game starts, we're already sitting at the table. We did stand-ups, and I'm out there with my partner. And I did not know about the Mountaineers shooting that gun off. And I should have worn brown pants that day.
The last time game day came to Morgantown was March in 2009. How have you seen how this program has kind of evolved since that time?
Just it's just gotten better and better. I think the reputation of the press and all that has taken hold, and so now it's almost like it's been branded. Even though in a given year they may not press quite as much as they did the year before or something like that. And it's not like they press every possession this year. When they do, it's meaningful. And Bob is a recognizable figure that has become a fixture here. It's hard to remind yourself that he's been here. He's been here a long time now, and you keep thinking, well, it seems like yesterday. I'm getting older. It seems like yesterday he was just, he'd gone to Kansas State. And he was only there a year, and he's been here ever since. So it's got a brand and a feel to it that everybody's gotten used to.
Is it one